Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see all of your faces, all the visiting. Hopefully everybody got some rest. So we have another jam-packed day. But before we get started, we like to center ourselves and welcome the new day. So we've asked Prairie Rose if she would start us off with a song or a blessing from her people.
Nawaaj tunet dagan. Way to go stead in Zagreb, tuna head in Zagreb. Good morning, my relatives. It's a beautiful day. It's a good day because you are here. I want to offer a blessing song, and it's calling to all of us to walk in beauty together and to be one with one another. For all of our ancestors who've gone before us and those who will come to pray for them as they come into this world, and that they too can walk in beauty with all of us. Hey ha gra ne ha gra ne ha ra ne ha ra ne ra ne ya ho ha le o ya de go he na ya de go he na ya de go he na ha ya ho la ho ha ya de go he na ha le o Beho, hey ha ra ne ha ra ne ha ra ne ha ra ne ra ne ya ho ha le o beho ya de go he na ya de go he na ya de go he na ha ya ho la ho ha ya de ko he na haleo beho. Diu na shana juk anane shu stuk dohu etam. Creator, Mother, take time to look at us today as we gather here in this way. All my relatives.
Ariga. Beautiful. I didn't realize how much I needed that. Koyanokbak Prairie Rose. That was a gift that I received very gratefully this morning. What a beautiful way to start our day. How are you guys doing? I hope you got good rest. It was a very full day yesterday, full for our mind, full for our spirit. As I said at the end of the day yesterday, it's perfectly normal if you felt tired, right? It means that you put a lot of mental and physical and spiritual energy into working through some of the things that we talked about. And that's a beautiful thing, right? When we're open to that, it allows us to grow in profound ways. So I just want to acknowledge that and to say we're so glad that you're here with us again today. We have another beautiful day planned, and we're looking forward to our time together. So to start our day, we want to make sure that we take the time to reset our agreements, because they are going to be the intention that we put into today. And if you've done work with First Alaskans, you know that this is something that is a really important part of everything that we do. It's important to be clear about the intention that we're putting into the work. It's also important to be clear about the way that we want to be with one another in our spaces. because we have a lot of work to do and we want to do it in a really good way. So, in going through our agreements, which, as you know, they're based on our Native values, right? Each of them are based on values that we carry as Indigenous people and throughout the world, they're human values. Our first, in every chair, a leader. You know, I was reflecting on some of the conversations yesterday, and I was thinking about leadership and the characteristic of leadership and what that looks like in this work. And particularly, I was thinking about the ways that it requires that we push out of our comfort zone, you know? We have had an opportunity to spend time specifically with our white family, engaging in conversations about what does it look like to move from being a white ally to an advocate. And then furthermore, we say co-conspirator, right? What does it look like to move on that spectrum so it's more active? It's not, I'm just liking a Facebook post about an injustice, so that's a way that I'm passively calling attention to becoming someone who is actively pushing anti-racist information, right? And helping other people to have that opportunity to have their perspectives opened a little bit. We joke about it being the red pill. The whole world needs to take the red pill to see and understand the systems that we're part of. And at one of our convenings of white family, allies to advocates, there was a participant, I just love her, she was saying, damn, you know, I just had this realization. I'm always in these spaces where I hear the most racist stuff. And every time it shocks me. Every time I'm like, what the hell? Did you seriously just say that? And I find myself like tripping over my words, and I'm like, I don't even know what to say to that, and I do a really bad job, and sometimes I don't say anything because I don't know how to do it, and I'm worried I'm gonna make it worse. And she said, you know what I realized? Damn, I'm gonna be in those spaces the rest of my life. There will be plenty of opportunities coming up for me to do something. So knowing that, I can practice, right? I can prepare myself with the things that I need to say to help people understand how what they said or what they did is inherently racist, right? And I really love that because it was like, okay, we're not hopeless, we're not helpless, we can do something about it. I think about this because, you know, I had shared with you yesterday about, you know, just a snippet about my cancer journey. And for me, there were a lot of gifts that I received in that journey. And one of the greatest for me was because I could suddenly hear the sounds of time, and I didn't know how long I had. The urgency of every day became very crisp, and I felt it keenly. And it helped me to have more courage, to say things in spaces that needed to be said. And it helped make visible to me the ways that in the world that we're living in right now, there are a lot of things internally, externally, that will put that lump in our throat, that will make it difficult for us to speak, right? And I didn't have time for that. So I had to push past it, right? And in this work, when I was reflecting on the panel and talking about, you know, how do you bring our allies in and help them to be effective in the ways that we need them to be effective. And for me, it's about the urgency that we're faced with. If we only move at the speed of what is comfortable, if we only move at the speed of that little bit of growth, right? Talking about things like white privilege, talking about things like fragility, supremacy, all of these things, how all of this is baked into the systems. It doesn't even require any effort on our part. They perpetuate themselves, right? If we only move at the speed of what's comfortable to talk about those things, my people are the collateral damage. People of color are the collateral damage while we're waiting for the world to get comfortable enough to do something about the things that we know are unjust. And that shouldn't be okay with any of us. Yeah? So when I think about in every chair a leader, I think about how can each of us have that inner courage to move faster, push further out of our comfort zone, because our kids are coming up behind us. We want to push as far as we can so they can go further, right? That's part of our responsibility. So that's something I was reflecting on yesterday and wanted to share that with you. We say, speak to be understood, listen to understand. We live in a world right now where the usual is listening to respond, listening to rebut. Yeah, I'm hearing a little bit of what you have to say, but I have my points to rebut you, and the gap between us will continue, right? There's no reason for us to meet each other. We can just shout from our side and feel righteous. But our kids and our future generations deserve better than that. They deserve us coming together to wrestle through those hard conversations in a good way, to come up with the meaningful solutions that are going to make the world better, right? I love the way that Larry Merkuliev had put listening, the context of listening in our communities. He said, silence is the place for introspection, peace of mind and heart, and knowing who you truly are in that space, being really grounded. It's a sign of respect to listen in silence without thinking of one's own response, to receive the gifts that you're being given through someone else's story, and allowing those stories to transform your own thinking and your own heart. That's bridging the distance. That's not shouting at each other across the divide. We ask that you be present and engaged. I want to say Koyanakbak to your families for sacrificing time with you to allow you to come and be in our space. That's a gift. You're with us and not with them right now. You're with us in this room and not at your desk, in all of the different spaces that we're in. You're here. So be really here with us. If you find yourself on your phone, removing yourself from our space, or even you're here, but you're mentally checked out, not only are you missing the opportunity to be enriched yourself, you're denying us of your brilliance. Right? We're only going to learn from each other and each other's experiences if we're actually really engaged with each other. And it also requires that we're responsible with understanding how our actions affect other people around us. So when you're on your phone, it's affecting the experience of the people around you also. So being responsible with understanding that. Our time is fast. Remember yesterday we said, before you know it, it's going to be the end of the day. Look, we're already the morning of day 2. In some ways, yesterday felt like a week. At the end of the day, I was like, man, this morning feels like 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you guys felt that. I totally felt that. So it was a very, very full time, but it went by really fast. And today will probably go even faster. So while you're here, be really here with us so we can make the most of our time and honor the sacrifice of our families and our work and our schooling and all the other things that want to pull us out of this room, out of this space to do other things. Let's honor that by being really present. Valuing our time together. In some ways, this is where we ask that you help us to make sure that we can hear from each other by being protective of making sure other people have space to speak. I know for me, when I get carried away, when I get fired up, which I do about social justice for sure, I can really dominate the whole conversation. So if you're like me in that space, I ask you to take the responsibility to pull yourself back in and make space for others to be able to share. More broadly, in this work, I'll ask something else of you. There's a dynamic that can happen in all realms, but I see it a lot in social justice and in this work, and I think it's because we're so passionate. There's a dynamic that happens where we can pull each other down and degrade each other's efforts, look sideways at each other and say, they're doing it this way, they shouldn't do it that way. And so we either actively or passively do not support what other people are doing, right? Has anyone else experienced that? Either you feel it in yourself or someone's doing that to you. Right, where we're degrading each other's efforts because we feel it's not done the way it should be, could be, missed opportunities, they didn't do enough, right? That comes from a place of really deeply caring, and that's a beautiful thing. That's an important thing. But if we're going to actively dismantle the systems that continue to hurt our people and communities, it's going to require all of us, and it's going to require all of our efforts in all of our different ways. And something that we know, when we're fighting each other, someone else is winning. Every time. So how can we be better relatives to each other? Value each other's contributions, efforts, the ways that they're putting their life energy into helping our world be better. How can we lift each other up, even when we're irritated with each other and have all of these feelings? Extend the grace to others that you want extended to you. Yeah? Let's value each other and what each other brings. This is a safe space for meaningful conversation. We're creating it together. If you want to quote someone, like they say something profound, like is happening all over the place, mics are dropping left and right in this space, right? That's cool. Just ask for permission. Conrad, can I quote you? That was brilliant. He's like, yes. Right? So ask for permission to share each other's brilliance. We don't want to hide it. But when we're taking our notes, the intent isn't to call out, oh man, look what they were talking about, and exposing some of the hard things that we're talking about. That's not what the intent is. The intent is to capture the spirit and the heart and the themes of the conversation, because we want to do honor to the things that we talk about. So in our note-taking, we're being very protective of each other, right? But we're being clear about what was said. That's what safe space looks like. We spend time talking about the challenges. As Akhlaq said yesterday, it can be a space that we can find ourselves churning in quite a lot. It's a phenomenon, admiring the problem, right? Where you're like really in this space of really wanting to talk about all the things that are wrong and hard, and especially the ways that it's hard for us. And sometimes it can turn into oppression Olympics, right? Where we're racing each other to the bottom. No, I have it worse. This is how I have it worse. Look how hard this is. No, this is how hard I have it, That's not productive. It's not going to serve our communities. It's not going to serve our people, right? The purpose of talking about the challenges is being very clear about what we're up against. Let's name it. Let's name it in powerful, clear ways. This is what we're talking about in this fight. This is what needs to change, right? We have to know what it is that we're up against. But to get to a solutions place, we have to, each of us, be actively thinking all the time, what can I do about that? Okay, I'm hearing about this. What's something that I can do? What is something that we can do about this? Right? Because otherwise, we can walk away with this whole room wallpapered with Post-its of all the challenges and all the things that are hard and tough. And then we'll leave the room like, well, I hope someone does something about that, you know? We need to be actively thinking personally. What are things that I can be doing about this right now, right? Even identifying the things that will hold you back, like, why am I not doing something about this? What am I nervous about? What am I scared of? You know what I mean? Like working through that. Our hats, taking them off, not limiting ourselves by our titles, inviting your whole lived experience, but not the devil's advocate, right? We don't need the devil. He doesn't need any help in this conversation, right? Let's bring our full lived experience into this space. If you're limited only by your title and the way that you come into this room, you're doing a disservice to your future you also. Because our titles are ephemeral, right? Our positions, it just marks a period of this life. And I hope that it's just a position that's of service to your life's work. And that position, that title, will look different over time. So don't be limited by your title now. Bringing our value of humor in. We have to laugh about this stuff too. It is crazy, some of the stuff that we experience. I really am thankful that we live in a time of memes, and I have friends that we just exchange memes, and it's almost like letting off steam a little bit. I'm like thinking about sharing specific ones, maybe not. I'm like, should I share that one? Maybe not. One that I do love, there were, I think about 50 of us yesterday who gathered in the open space and did smudging at the end of the day to release some of the energy and to let it go in a good way. And that's something that I incorporate as regular practice. I have to do that because otherwise I carry a lot of energy with me. And there's this one meme that I really love. It's, 2 or 3 people. They're holding this like huge wood pole, right, between them. And it has this absolutely ginormous smudge stick, like the size of this couch. And the end of it is lit, and it's like, and it's like, man, not enough smudge in the world for this shit, right? Sometimes you want to be like, damn, where's my couch-sized smudge stick? Our humor, it helps us. We're responsible for the experience that we're creating together, so let's be careful with that. And let's take responsibility for the experience that we have with each other. Yeah? In this space, if you choose to not mentally engage and to use your thinking toward what it is that we can do together, and you leave feeling as though it was a waste of time, that's on us. That's a choice that we have made, right? So let's take responsibility for the ways that we're going to show up with each other. It also requires that when we're having our conversations, if you feel in your heart and in your gut that there's something that is not being said, that needs to be said. It's the time to bring that forward because we need to talk about it, right? We are responsible for the experience we're having together. And it sucks to walk away from a conversation and be like, dang, I wish I had said whatever, right? Let's not leave things left unsaid. Even when they're hard, you can do it in a good way. We can do it in a good way. We're responsible for the experience that we're creating. We say take care of yourself and take care of each other. For me, I think of it really as take care of each other. Sarah James is an elder from Vashrek'o, Arctic Village. She's a Gwich'in elder. And I really loved the way that she shared this teaching from their community. She said, in our way, everyone who's older than you is your elder. And we always give reverence to our elders. We take care of them. We make sure that they're protected and okay. Everyone who's younger than you is youth. We watch over our youth. We watch over them, we protect them, we help to guide them, but we're looking out for them. I really loved that because it speaks to the beauty of our people. We are collective people. It's because we're strong collectively that we're strong, right? And when you view everyone who's older than you as your elder, and everyone who's younger than you, even by a few months, as youth, no one falls between the gaps. We're all taken care of, right? Then we can be less concerned. Oh, I have to do my self-care. I need to remove myself and go to a spa to take care of myself. If we're actively taking care of each other, that's no longer necessary because your loved ones are reaching out to you and they're saying, I see you. Let's go for a walk. Yeah? Let's go for a dip in the salt water. We need it. You know, I'm here for you. So let's take care of each other in that way. Not just here, also with our families, which I'll acknowledge is sometimes the hardest. But it's important. Do these seem like good agreements to set our time together? Set intention? Yeah? Whoa, that was sad. That was very sad. Do these seem like good agreements? Yes? Awesome, thank you. Whew. I was like, oh no. Everyone's like, no, I disagree. Okay, so we'll ask for your help upholding these agreements with each other. And should you forget, whip out your handy-dandy little scroll. Ooh-dee-goo, they're so cute. I love our little itty-bitty agreements. Something I'll say about our agreements is that we offer them. You know, they don't belong to us. Over time, we have come to know that these are the ones that are critically necessary for the kinds of conversations that we want to host. So these are the ones that we use. But we encourage you to use them. We use them in every space that we're in, whether it's like this, whether it's hosting a roundtable with our youth and the Attorney General of the United States, right? We use our agreements because we know as Native people that if we set intention and use our values to guide our conversation, it will fundamentally shift the way that we are with each other, and we can go further together. So we do offer them for you to use. You can take pictures. You've got your baby scroll. They're on our website. Please use them. Okay. So, yesterday, very, very, very full day. Huh? I know I received stories from so many of you about experiences that you had during our time together, and that was a gift. It was beautiful to hear about some of the experiences that you had. If you're like me, you went home and we're still wrestling with things in your mind, in your heart. I know I was feeling things in my heart. We went out. I won't tell you how late. We went out yesterday for a little while, and we're in a place where they serve drinks. And we were sitting there, and I was really wrestling with some things and totally got teased by my brother. He's like, "Why are you still thinking about this right now?" I'm not even going to tell you what time it was. But I was just like, I can't turn it off. I have to think about this stuff, right? I have to think about it so that when I go to sleep, my mind can be productive. Help me work through some of this stuff. And I woke up feeling really good, and I hope you were too. Yesterday was a lot of sitting and absorbing what was being said. And I want to apologize because we don't usually do that way. We intentionally create more space for you guys to be able to talk and have conversation with each other so that we can learn from each other and process in different ways, right? Help us to understand our own experience a little bit more by it being reflected from other people. So I want to acknowledge that. I also want to acknowledge that even though it was a lot of sitting and receiving information and gifts of the mind and spirit, that you guys were amazing. There were so many times yesterday that you could hear a pin drop. The attentiveness and the respect and honor that you gave to everyone who shared yesterday was beautiful. So I want to honor that because that also is somewhat unique. It's not usually like that in conferences, huh? Where there's that level of attention and love given to the people who are sharing with you. So we want to create space right now at your tables. And actually, I think I am going to ask you to shuffle up your tables because I see a lot of people sitting exactly where they sat before with exactly the same people. I'm going to do it. I'm going to ask you to change tables and switch up who you're sitting with. And here's what I want you to do when you do that. Once you shuffle up, and I promise it's with good purpose. There's a lot of amazing people in here. A lot of amazing people. And it's a disservice if you're only connecting with 2 or 3 of the same ones. Yeah? So once you're at your tables, we want to take time for each of you to share one thing that you're still reflecting on from yesterday. What's something that was resonating with you that you're still feeling and thinking about? Or an aha moment. Did something happen yesterday that surprised you? Did you learn something about yourself yesterday? You know, that's a gift too. We want to be able to share some of those things. I want to give just a warning that we will do this for about, no, this doesn't want to work, 15 minutes, which is not very long. I'm telling you that so that you can protect each other's time and make sure everyone gets a chance to share. Okay? So get up, switch tables around, and talk. Each person share something that's still resonating with you from yesterday. And I will ask that you try to do it fairly quickly because the 15 minutes will go fast. So find your table, find your new table, find your new group, and jump right back in. Qiyanak. Okay. That went by fast? Yeah. That went by fast, huh? I got to hear little snippets of folks' conversations. Sounds like a pretty good day yesterday, which is awesome. those of us on social media, I'll ask if you'll do us a quick favor. Log on to Facebook real quick. Go to First Alaskans Institute Facebook page. We posted a link to the live stream of today. It's on YouTube. It's streaming on YouTube. We just ask that you go to our First Alaskans Facebook page and share that so that other folks have an opportunity to tune in, hear some of the stuff that you guys get to hear. Something that we heard last time, we hosted in 2016, we hosted a racial equity summit. It was in Anchorage. And like this time, we had invited incredible people to join us and share their knowledge and their fire and their passion and ideas. And we left with a lot of tools, inspiration, and our fires relit from that time together, which is part of the intent of having this kind of convening. When you're in the grind, when you're in the hustle, when you're in this work, there are a lot of days that are tough. There are a lot of times where you experience things that are very discouraging. And that can be really hard on your spirit. It can be hard on your mind. Sometimes we turn that inwardly and we're hard on ourselves, you know? And when you're just with your passion and you're fighting, it can wear on you and you can start to feel burnt out, depressed. Like it can really bring you down a pretty bleak path, right? I'm thinking about what Lagu and I shared yesterday. It's not a sign of, what did she say? It's not a sign of, it's not good to be well adjusted in. I knew someone wrote it down. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted in a sick society, right? That's the damn truth, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious. So recognizing that when you're in the grind, when you're in the hustle, and you're really pushing and fighting, and we use our life fire, our passion, our energy to make change, right? That has a physical toll on us. Creating spaces like this, where we get to learn from each other, be inspired by each other, think about things differently, tap into our own personal stories as our superpower in helping other people to understand, that is part of what it is that we're trying to create. We're trying to create a space. If you were with us at the Warming of the Hands reception on Sunday, Lieutenant Governor Byron Malott used the analogy of the ways that our people were a fire. And those who came kicked all of the embers apart. They spread us out, isolated us, right? And for some of us, the fire nearly burned out. But places like this, experiences like this, are bringing those back in, bringing them back together.